Let me just start by saying there's nothing around the state hospital.
Okay.
It is a drive. It feels like it is literally in the middle of nowhere. When you drive up to the campus, there are different buildings. You have the main building where there is 4 different units that serve 4 different needs of population within the state hospital. And then you have the Spratt unit, which is a building totally away from the main state hospital building.
Welcome to the Disability Rights Montana podcast. I am Kona, the Director of Communications here at Disability Rights Montana.
And I'm Krista Gabriel. I'm the Director of Public Policy.
And today we are going to chat a bit about the upcoming legislative session here in Montana, a bit of a legislative primer, if you will. Some things we've done before last session, some things that are going on this session, and some ideas of how we would like to see laws in the state of Montana evolve and move forward to benefit the disability community.
Do you want to take the lead on talking about what happened last session?
Yeah. So last session, we had lots of things happen last session. I'm not going to recap the entire session, but we did have two notable wins I'll mention here is we had Senate Bill 4, which the sponsor was Jen Gross, a Democrat from Senate District 25. And that bill was to have the Montana State Hospital, which is Montana's state-run psychiatric facility, to have them forward all allegations of abuse and neglect to Montana's Protection and Advocacy Program, which is our office, Disability Rights Montana. So that was passed, which was great. And also House Bill 29, which was sponsored by Jennifer Carlson, Republican from House District 69. And that one is also considered, that one's also with the Montana State Hospital. And that one specifically, House Bill 29, was about dementia and Alzheimer's, people with dementia and Alzheimer's being sent to the state hospital because the state hospital is not a care facility for people with dementia and Alzheimer's, and they were ending up at the state hospital. And so this bill works to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of acknowledgement that the state hospital is not an appropriate placement for individuals that ended up there because of dementia, Alzheimer's, people with TBI. And I think that is going to be a strong focus of ours going into this session, is focusing on issues around the state hospital, particularly the issue around now moving these individuals who are in what is called the Spratt unit back into the community. And this is part of the Future Generations Commission has been tasked with trying to figure out how they're going to relocate a lot of these individuals. And so there is some concern about moving them into the community. We're going to be very vocal in trying to ensure that they're placed in the community integration and not just placed from one institution to another institution.
Because if you were to pick up the Montana State Hospital in its entirety and set it down in the middle of Missoula or Billings and changed nothing else about it, none of the policies, none of the way care is presented, none of the way how people come and go, that is still the institutionalization of people.
Yeah, and I think there's a question about what is feasible too. Is it feasible to move the entirety of that demographic into another facility that we may or may not be able to have the workforce to sustain? And so are there other solutions that we might be able to explore and make sure that these individuals are being placed in community centers where they can be integrated?
And for folks that don't know, the Montana State Hospital is one location in Warm Springs, Montana. And people are sent to the Montana State Hospital from across our entire state, which, as most of us know, takes a whole day to drive across. Which most of us know takes a whole day to drive across, essentially. I don't know what, it's like 800 miles wide by like 400 miles tall. Like, it's a massive state. So people are being sent to MSH, Montana State Hospital, from all over our state. And part of the community inclusion and community care aspect is that patients won't have to go as far for care. They can have that closer to their community, closer to things they know, closer to their family members and their support systems.
Right.
So for many Montanans, they probably have never been to the Montana State Hospital. And you've been multiple times, many times the last few months. Could you just kind of give us a brief, like, what's it like visiting there? What's the layout? What's around the state hospital? Yeah.
Let me just start by saying there's nothing around the state hospital.
Okay.
It is a drive. It feels like it is literally in the middle of nowhere. When you drive up to the campus, there are different buildings. You have the main building where there is 4 different units that serve 4 different needs of population within the state hospital. And then you have the Spratt unit, which is a building totally away from the main state hospital building. And then there's several different group homes on the campus where individuals sort of have free reign of campus. And again, there's nowhere for them to go, but they do get around the campus freely. Some of them have jobs. I know that I've been working with a patient group there, and several of them take pride in having jobs. One of them works at the library and comes and goes as he pleases. And there's not a lot out there.
And so for folks that are on a unit, you're typically confined to that unit. For other folks, they have a little more privileges to move around the campus.
And I think one of the issues worth mentioning is the overcrowding of the state hospital. And I think that's going to be a topic of discussion that comes up during the session as well, of how do we address the overcrowding of the state hospital. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that we will be putting our ears to the ground on.
Do you want to walk us through a little bit about what to expect from us during the legislative session?
Yeah, I think that you can expect that we're going to be very vocal about issues that are directly going to be impacting the disability community. We definitely want to make sure that we're securing the essential rights of people with disabilities, and that there's not any bills that are going to be brought forward that are going to do harm to the disability community. So we're definitely going to be on the defense for some bad bills, if you will.
Mm-hmm. And just as a reminder, 29% of Montana adults self-identify as having some type of disability. And so this may affect many people that if you're listening to this, it may affect you, it may affect someone you know or that you're close to. And that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I think we're going to be very aware of the intersectionalities of disability and how disability can play a part in many different aspects of life. And so there's going to be a lot of bills presented that, we're going to have to be paying close attention to.
And we've already mentioned this before, but one of the things that we always will be a proponent to is actualizing community inclusion, like real community inclusion, real community services for people with disabilities. One of the other areas of legislative interest for us as well is going to be access to healthcare for Montanans. For us specifically, Montanans with disabilities, but there is some questions and a lot of conversation around Medicaid that I know that you've got some projects going on. Do you want to share with us the importance of healthcare, Medicaid, and why that's of an interest to disability rights?
We are one of the priority issues that we are going to be focusing on in this session is ensuring the continuation of the current Medicaid program. We know that when people have access to healthcare, not only are they impacted, but the people around them and their community, everybody benefits from the health and well-being of an individual. And so that is why the continuation of the Medicaid program is so essential. And so I'm interested in knowing how the legislative session is going to respond and if they're going to support the continuation of the program.
And if you want to learn a little bit more about Medicaid, we do have a story from Anna about her experience with Medicaid. And you and I actually chatted a bit about Medicaid in a previous episode, and I'll put those in a card or in the description below.
Yeah, and I would add, if you are listening to this and you feel like you have personally been impacted by Medicaid, or you know a family member who's been impacted by Medicaid, please contact us and share your stories. We want to know. We want to share the value of Medicaid and the impact that it has on individuals and improving their lives.
And specifically the positive impact, because it does allow people to move through their life, to build capacity in the things that they want, to build competency in the places they want, to work, to get an education, to support their families, to do so many things that we all value as Montanans. And so there are so many positive aspects to having healthcare, and ultimately potentially saves everyone money down the road with having healthcare and being able to be on top of one's health.
And not to mention how it can bolster the economic development of a community, right? When you have healthy people, it's just sort of like a natural organic thing that happens in your community. And so we want to make sure that that is something that is noted.
If you want to learn more about how to follow the legislature, how to maybe testify yourself, either in person or virtually, an organization called Montana Women Votes. Montana Women Votes. They're putting on a series of workshops and trainings on just that. And we're hosting one here at our office on December 5th. And I'll put the rest of the dates down below to the other trainings, but it should be really a really great time if you need a refresher or you're new to the process of testifying and, making your way around the Capitol.
Yeah, so that's a great segue into some opportunities that we have here at our office. Disability Rights Montana's building offers a great space that we're opening up to advocates, allies, legislators, lobbyists, anybody who wants to come into this space and have a place to maybe decompress, a place to meet, a place to maybe hold some events. Disability Rights Montana, we're going to be hosting a series, an educational series that we're going to be opening up to anybody who's interested in learning about disability-related issues. We're going to be covering everything from housing issues, healthcare access, in particular Medicaid and the importance of Medicaid. We're going to be talking about employment inclusion for people with disabilities, access to voting and civic engagement. There's going to be a series of topics that we are going to be posting up very soon. And we would encourage anybody to come in and join in on these conversations.
And if you are an organization that feels like aligns with what we're doing, we'll have those. We're going to have other dates. I think we're going to aim for Tuesdays, it sounded like. So we're going to have, DRM's going to be doing some trainings on Tuesdays, but we're going to have Tuesdays that are open that we want to open up for other organizations to come in and give these public trainings and facilitate these learning opportunities and community building events as well.
Yeah, we really just want to create and foster a supportive environment for folks where people can come in and have a shared space and have the ability to support one another. And I'm really hoping that we can make that happen this session.
And so during the working hours, within our building, we'll have a space available for folks to just stop by anytime. And we'll have that available Monday through Friday throughout all of session.
Yeah, we'll have refreshments for folks, and we're also collaborating with Montech, and we will be providing we'll have a sensory room access, so anybody who really needs to step away from the chaos of the Capitol can come in and have a quiet space to really sort of ground themselves and have some control of their own environment.
Yeah, thank you, Montech, for offering to help us set that up, so that'll be great. I think that's a good place for us to wrap up for now, because we're going to have a lot more updates coming as session starts. So if you're a person who wants to either be involved in the civic process here in Montana, or if you are just looking to support us in some way or just want to learn more about us, you can sign up for our email. We send out a weekly email with disability related information, and as session starts, it'll be a little more session focused, but there's still going to be other pieces of information in there around housing in Montana, jobs, transportation, all sorts of things that are on our priority list for over the next 11 months.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Krista, for being with us and telling us about the legislature and how we're moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. I look forward to all of the things the legislative session is going to hold, and hopefully we can have some positive impact for the disability community.
Excellent. Thanks for being here, and we will catch you on the next one.